first I want to share my mug. Isn't this so pretty? I love coffee. This mug was given to me by my stepdaughter and I just love it. I love the colors and has my first initial. I did enjoy getting it with the P on there. So the topic I have for you today is all about goal setting. And I love this topic because it can be such a trigger-filled topic when we really get down into the goal setting piece. When I used to teach a class on goal setting, one of the things that I always talked about was how we had to look at this like it's a working document, like it's something that was to be tweaked and worked. And many of you as professionals out there, you know that that's the case, is that goals need to be like a working document where you know you're going to revisit it, understand the circumstances again, see how you have to tweak and change up the plan just a little bit. So I've always lived off of that premise, but there was always still a little something that would hold me back personally from setting goals that really pushed my boundaries. So I really am a big picture thinker. Sometimes I can't drill down to the little minor details of a personal goal that I have because I'm so emotionally wrapped up in whatever the goal is that I have. Usually my goals are centered around my passions and what really drives me and keeps me up at night and makes me want to get up and go take some notes on whatever that topic is. So that is how I'm driven, by my passions. And so sometimes that could lead in a different direction. So what I wanted to talk to you about this morning is that, as I shared with you in the past videos, I've been listening to a podcast by Brooke Castillo, and as I was listening to her perspective on goal setting, of course, another huge awareness that I wanted to share with you. So one of the things that she mentions in there is that when we're looking at goal setting, we can kind of, this is my interpretation of what I heard, we can kind of look at goal setting in two different ways. One way, we're looking at our goals, and it can either put us in a mode of looking at the negative sides of that goal. Next thing you know, we're thinking, I don't know, is this what I really want to do? How am I going to do this? I don't know what's the first thing here. Is this really even in line with who I am? Can I achieve this? We have all these negative things that come up as questions in this goal that we're trying to achieve, right? And then, so there's that line. And then the other line is that we go so far off into Twilight Zone and La La Land that it doesn't really faze us one way or the other. It doesn't induce action, and it also doesn't induce that fear. Okay, so in that case, maybe when we went a little bit too far off into fantasy land on what's achievable. So I have experienced both sides of these, where it induces fear or it induces no action at all. This was huge. So one of the elements that she mentioned in these two dynamics is the fact that if your goal actually produces fear, and you're coming up with all these objections, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Obviously, coming up with a goal that doesn't induce action, and it doesn't bring up any thoughts, is not in line with what your goals are, what your true goals are. We may be thinking way too up here, way too high level. So what I want to offer you is this. If one of those sounds familiar to you, sit in this goal a little bit longer. The one that pushes your fear boundaries, pushes your own expectations of what you think is possible. The thing that is bringing up the actual fears and the questions and the objections. So one of the things that she notes to do, this is so awesome. One of the things that she says to do is that when those objections come up, this is when you take that piece of paper, and at that moment that you're identifying the goals that you want to achieve, you write down all the little objections that are coming up with it. I'm not educated enough. I don't have enough influence. I'm not knowledgeable enough about this area. I'm not ready. Is it really what I want? All of these objections, you're going to write them down, okay? And then the next phase of that is to get your mind to a place of where you're living in your mind the actual fruition of the goal. So now, for some people that may be a bit of a challenge to sit in that goal and really imagine that it is coming to light. It's hard to do. It's something to practice and to think about. So if you have any concerns with that part, I'd love to hear some thoughts that you have that you may be going through on how that might be a challenge for you. So one other thing I forgot to mention, another key thing, is that in this phase of writing down your goal, writing down the objections that come up, and trying to live in the moment of it coming to reality, is that you do not want to go to the place of how you will achieve the goal. Right now at this stage, when you're going through these motions, this is all about mindset and how our mind gets triggered to respond and react to that goal, okay? Can you see that? Can you see how starting with the mindset stuff is really, really, really important, okay? Because if we stay stuck in the objections, we're going to feel like it's not attainable, it's not for us, and we're going to drop it like a hot potato. But if we write everything down, here's the other thing that can happen too, is that you see all these objections and you're kind of doing a brain dump of all the objections. You have to look at it that way, like it's a brain dump, and you're releasing these thoughts, you're releasing the fears, you're releasing the objections, and then whoosh, okay? For now anyways, whoosh to the side for just a little bit until you get to the planning phase, okay? And then the third phase is imagining that it's actually coming to light, and that you're actually in a place of achieving that goal. So like for me personally, in working with my clients, I'm starting to set a plan for next year. I have my plan for this year on what I want to achieve, how many people I want to connect with and engage with and interact with, and the programs that I'm going to be putting out in the next couple weeks here, things like that, and the goals that I'd like to achieve in that. So next year, when I'm planning for 2019, I need to stretch this goal and consider what are the objections that will come up with that, live in and write all those objections down, and then live in that moment of achieving those goals. So any thoughts that you have, or if this is something that you tried yourself, I'd love to hear what were some of the things that you worked through. What are some of your biggest objections and challenges that come up for you as you're identifying your goals? So have a wonderful day today, and I am gonna enjoy a little more of my coffee. And so if you drink coffee or tea, enjoy it and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.